If you're going through the situation right now, it seems like the end of the world, but I promise it's not. You figure it out. The hardest day was that first night when my mom died. And then that night, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to go to sleep tonight. But the next morning, I woke up.
Dying of laughter.
It's not funny.
My mom has stage 4 cancer in her bones and in her breast. My dad's disease was 15 years, he died of ALS. I made a podcast about death, seemed like the thing to do. And if you're sad by all of this, well, you're gonna die too.
Dude, my audio was being weird on Tuesday. I don't know. That was some echoey shit. I was not a fan. So I'm testing this out, and this better sound damn better because I have good equipment. And if only I knew how to use it, we would be off to the races, bitches. Ayo, it's Thursday. If anyone's in San Diego, I'll be performing at the Whistle Stop Comedy Bar on February 26th, opening for Langston Kerman, who plays Jared on Insecure. I'm super excited. The show's only $5. They said it's going to sell out. Like 150 people can come, and that's really cool. If you're in San Diego, would love to see you. Also, if you or anyone you know is battling breast cancer, the Young Survivors Coalition is coming to Los Angeles March 6th through 8th. The YSC Summit is the largest nonprofit organization that hosts a summit for women who are battling breast cancer, their loved ones, husbands, wives, fathers, sons, mothers, daughters, cousins, friends. You know I love listing. I'll be hosting their comedy night on March 6th. It was my idea. They said yes. It's exciting. Comedians performing for about 700 breast cancer patients and their advocates and supporters. If you're in LA and want to come, amazing. And more specifically, I just think the conference is fantastic. If you know anyone who is battling breast cancer, who has survived breast cancer, who has struggled with breast cancer in some way, is in the community, please let them know about the YSC Summit in Los Angeles. If you Google YSC Summit, Young Survivors Coalition, it's all gonna come up. Yay! Today, I'm chatting with Benjamin Schachter-Gordon, writer and comedian in Los Angeles. This guy is so well-spoken. He's been through so much. I absolutely loved getting to connect with him. We met on a set originally and totally connected. Little did we know that we both had similarities in different ways, but he lost his mother to breast cancer in high school and has also been through a lot of other stuff, guys. He is a true warrior. He also has faced other challenges, shortcomings, and he opens up about all of those today, about his racist grandfather, growing up Black and Jewish, and this is the story of his life, and it really inspires me. I was listening to it again. I was just completely blown away. This guy doesn't know. He's so humble and doesn't fully. Anytime I'm like, Ben, you're so cool, you're so funny, you're so nice, he's like, I don't know. Like, just someone that genuinely is just like #humble brag. He'll be performing at the House of Blues in Anaheim on February 23rd and at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank on March 10th. Don't miss him. He's a cool bean. Let's get to it. Oh my God, and his voice, hello. I keep telling him he needs to do voiceover. I want him to do all of the things. Okay, go be obsessed with him. Bye.
So we're going to talk about your comedy and all of that jazz too, but first, let's start at the beginning.
Way more tragic. Yeah.
Oh, the comedy's more tragic than
It's way more tragic. Yeah.
So let's first talk about, for anyone listening that doesn't know you, talk a little bit about where you're from, how you grew up, how did it all go down? Tell us the real you.
The real me. It's kind of a convoluted story, but I'll give you guys like the footnotes and everything. Mm-hmm. So I was born and raised in Connecticut, which I think is the best state, but I'll leave that for a different podcast. Raised with my sister by my mom, white lady, and you can see me, nobody else can. I'm Black, obviously. Half Black, half white, which made for a weird, interesting like upbringing, whatever. My mom was diagnosed with cancer when I was 3 years old, and had it until I was 15, and when she unfortunately passed away. She went to remission when I was around 11, and then it came back when I was 13. And yeah, grew up in a weird kind of dynamic. My mom's family, I loved them, but it was weird growing up. You know, my older sisters also have black. We have different dads, and my grandpa was like a really bigoted, like he was like a racist dude and like hated black people. Like
Really?
yeah, and like it was like really hated them, and
Really?
yeah, and my sister was older, and after I was born, you know, he told my mom he couldn't forgive the same mistake twice, and yeah, cut us out of his will, and like cut off all contact. And the
What
weird
is
thing,
wrong with him?
you know, he you know, just an old dude, grew up in the 30s and 40s, and that was just it. What the weird thing about it is that my grandma was the complete opposite. She loved us, and she loved being around me and my sister. So I'd go to my grandma's house or my grandpa's house all the time, like growing up, and it was just weird because with her it was, you know, all jolly, all fun. You know, what do you want to do today? I felt like I had an actual grandma, like actual grandparent. And whenever he came into the room or whenever he came into the house, it was just like a dark cloud would come over. And I don't know. It was weird just having that because, you know, you watch Disney or you watch like kids shows growing up, and the grandparents are always like the heroes in the show or whatever, and they're always like the fun. And I was always it really always seemed like a make believe kind of thing. I was like, nah, my grandpa is just not I don't know. He's just a weird energy around me. He just and my sister. I don't want to make this like too, I guess, victimizing, whatever. My sister's a little lighter than I am, and I know like he used to talk to her a little bit, and they used to have like some conversations. I didn't know if maybe because she was older, so she could, you know, have those conversations, or if it was because she was lighter than I was. But you know, I would try to speak up or whatever, and he would just snap at me like no one's talking to you, no one's asking you anything, and it all came to like a head kind of when I was 6 years old. We had Passover. Because
you're also Jewish.
Also Jewish, part of the tribe, which, you know, we get about as much love worldwide as my grandpa gave me personally. So, yeah.
It's a whole other shebang.
It's a great experience. But yeah, we were at Passover, and my uncle, my mom's brother, he was visiting from Seattle. He just had his newborn son, with a lady who wasn't Jewish but was white. Mm-hmm. And my grandpa was playing with my little cousin, and you know, I didn't care. I was like, I got a new little cousin. I'm happy. But my mom, I noticed she was, you know, like steaming the whole time, and she was watching, and she was like, you know, why don't you ever play with Benjamin like that? You know, you have a grandson right here you never play with. And my grandpa jumped up and was like, you know, I don't play with your son. Like, your kids would never bring me joy. You know, you embarrassed our family. I remember being 6 years old and just sitting there watching them snap. Everyone was crying. And I was just like, wow, that's my grandpa. Like that's like that's he's saying that right in front of us. Like I was trying to process it as a 6-year-old, and I was like, all right, that's how he feels about me. It's good to know that that's his position, but it was just weird. So all of that to say, I guess, like my mom and I and my sister and I, we were kind of close in that sense that we were all kind of outcasted. And you know, it was just us for the most part. My dad was in and out for a lot of our lives. Yeah.
Was the other parts of your mom's family, like, was your uncle accepting? Was he kind of?
It was really like kind of like just my grandpa. And if anybody else had those feelings, you know, there were stories like I heard that some people said when I was born to leave me in the hospital and like don't bring me home and
what?
Yeah, and you know, and there are times now. 'Cause the worst probably about being black, which is I'm going to speak for all black people, which I should not do. I think the worst part about it, or one of the worst parts about it, is just like the paranoia you have where, you know, you start to question, is this me putting my own thoughts into this, or is this like the actual reality of the situation? And, you know, I'm too dumb to read it. And so there are times where, you know, certain people in my family will say stuff to me, or, you know, like I was told not to go to college at some point. They're like, you know, don't worry about college. You should aim, you know, for trade, which there's no shame in going to trade school, but it's weird when people tell you don't go. I don't know. Is that because I'm the black one in the family, or is that just because, you know, I was also a terrible fucking student? I don't know. But
you did go to a great school.
Yeah, and that was because of my uncle. You know, I was after my mom died. So my mom passed when I was 15, and that was it was a definitely weird moment. My dad had moved back in with us, and he was with us for a couple years, still in and out, but you know, for the most part, he was kind of there. And
was that difficult having him sometimes there, sometimes not, or was that what you were used to?
It just became routine where, you know, it was one of those stories, one of those dads where he'd be like, I'm going to the store real quick, what do you want? I'm like, all right, let me get some Starburst. I'll be right back. And then I wouldn't see him again for like 2 months. And then, or like 2 weeks, or you just never knew. So we kind of got used to it. But when I got into my freshman year of high school, my mom's health kind of like took like a real shift and a real change, and she, she started getting like really, really sick, and so he was around a little bit more at that point, and yeah, when she passed, afterwards, I kind of like spiraled out of control, like not in the sense that I was like doing hardcore drugs and I was like doing, I was just. It was just like sabotaging my opportunities and sabotaging myself. Like I was skipping school like every other day. It was crazy.
Really?
Yeah, because I just, she was the whole reason I wanted to make her proud in school. And after I couldn't make her proud, I was like, I don't care about this anymore because she's not home. And I'd find myself like crying at random times of the day. Like it was a really weird. But at the same time, I tried to rationalize it because. Even at 15, I was like, all right, if everyone loses their parent at some point, if life goes according to plan, like you just lost yours a little earlier than you were expecting. And
well, I would say a lot earlier than a lot of people.
That's what I'm starting to realize a little bit. Like now, because, she was, and I'm sure you can experience, you have some experience with this. She was diagnosed when I was 3 years old. So from the time of 3 years old, I was told your mom could die. So I was like, all right, like, I was always like that kid in class who was, I didn't really laugh at fart jokes or like the dumb stuff. Cause I was not saying I was like more mature, but it was, I kind of in the back of my head, I was like, there's more serious stuff going on. I'm not really focusing on this right now.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So when I was 15, at that point, I already felt like I was a grown man. Like at 10 years old, I felt like I was a grown man. Cause
were you a sophomore in high school or a freshman?
I was freshman year. I'm pretty sure it was my freshman year.
That's a hard year as it is.
Yeah, it was and I was not a popular kid or anything like that by any means, but to your point, like now looking back, now like I'm 25 now, and now I'll see on TV like young kids, or I'll see like people like walking around. I'll see like young kids with their parents, and I'm just like, I get freaked out. Like, damn, I was only like 5 years older than you, or like 2 years older than you when I lost my mom. And now I'm starting to see like how young I kind of was at the time. And I don't know. There's nothing. I mean, I can't do anything about it now. What the weird thing is, I don't know. Like on the 7th of this month, so October 7th, it's gonna be 10 years since she passed away.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah.
Well, thank you for opening up about all of this. And I mean, you've been through a lot. This is, a lot of people don't experience this at this age. You're still so young right now. You're younger than me. You've been through so much. And it's interesting. I didn't know the specifics of, we were both similar ages with the diagnosis, and it's been 9 years. So similar paths, but totally, well, not similar paths. Very different, but connecting in that way.
It's probably, it's probably kind of not. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, different. So, do you remember when she was diagnosed? Were there symptoms at that time, or did you not really notice that she was sick till kind of later in life?
So when she was diagnosed, I remember she went to Yale Hospital in New Haven. I don't remember like her ever being like, "Oh, I'm not feeling well" or whatever. I just remember her being in the hospital, and it was my sister and I and one of my mom's friends, and we went to the hospital, and she had all these tubes like on her, and all these IVs, and I remember looking at her like, that's like it was like the first time I ever saw my mom like in an incapacitated state, and but I didn't really know what was going on. And I remember, you as a kid, you get your cues from everybody else. So like my grandma was there, and like all the doctors are in the room, and everyone's crying. So and my sister started crying, and so I was like, all right, I better start crying. So I started crying, and I crawled out in the bed, and my mom is crying, and I remember like we like they were like, yeah, she has to stay here, she can't leave, and I didn't understand. I was like, why can't she just come home with us? Like we're leaving, and they're like, yeah, she has to stay. So I remember we walked to the elevator together. She had like a little rolling IV bag, and we got into the elevator, and we didn't want to I didn't want to like push the button to go down. And I remember my mom's, because I was competitive. Oh, I'm getting emotional. It's weird. Sorry.
No, it's totally normal.
Yeah, I haven't actually talked about like this specific thing in a while. This isn't even like that sad. I'm not sure why I'm getting like choked up. But my mom's friend was like, yeah, we got to go. And she knew I was like competitive as like, little kids are competitive. So she like made a game out of it. Like, oh, who's going to hit the button first? You're going to let me touch it before you, Ben? And so I like hit the button. Like, I just being a kid, like I pushed the button and then the door started closing. And yeah, I just started like breaking down. And then that was like my memory of her, like, getting like diagnosed with it. And then after that, things got, it was just a constant, of her going to the doctors and, but it was weird. Like I don't remember her being like sick in my mind until the day she died. Like I was just a naive dude because she was like I was raised by her, like it was her and my sister that raised me. Mm-hmm. And like all my role models, I get like Kobe's my favorite basketball player, but like she was like Superman, like Superwoman, whatever you want to. Like she was like a superhero. Like she was the smartest person I knew. She was like the strongest person I knew. She's like she had the greatest advice for everything. So even when she was sick, and she was just so resilient and so much stuff I knew she'd been through in life. So throughout my childhood and all that stuff, my adolescence, it was always like, she's complaining about being sick. She's fine. Like she's fine. Like she'll get like she's a fighter. Mm-hmm. And like even when I remember, like she was in the hospital for a week when she died. We called her on Wednesday. She passed on a Wednesday. Like she went to the hospital on a Wednesday, and the next Wednesday she had passed. But I remember she was like in her room and she was complaining, like she was in like a lot of pain, and she was like wailing in pain, like I like screaming out like I can't sleep. I have to call the house. I have to call 911. So like the ambulance came to the house, and even while all this is going on, I'm just like I gotta go to school. Like I was just thinking about myself because I'm like she'll be fine. Like it's like seeing like a basketball player sprain his ankle. Like it hurts, but he'll be back in a couple of days. Like he'll shake it off. And then like she was in the hospital and she was like the last phone call I had with my mom, and I'll never forget myself for this. Like to the day I die. Like I kind of like cursed her out because in my head I was like she's gonna get through this event like anyway. So like the idea of her dying, like, honestly, never crossed my mind. Like, even though people with cancer die all the time, I was like, she's not gonna die. And it wasn't like, because I'm praying for her. It was just, it was like telling me 2 + 2 = 5. Like, I literally couldn't see the calculation of how her dying. Mm-hmm. So I remember like she called me one time and she was like, "Where's your dad?" And I was like, I don't know where my dad is at, like wherever he's at. And she was like, "Can you call him?" I was like, you call him. You have a phone right now?" And she was like, "I'm in the hospital, freaking out." And I was like, "Oh, you bitch!" Like I felt bad. And at the time, I remember when I said it, but I was like, "She'll be fine." And then 2 days later, she died. And it was, even when she died, I didn't even think. I thought, oh, there are cameras. I'm not a celebrity. Ashton Kutcher must be somewhere like punking me, kind of. Because I was in class. I was in not AP Psych. I was in psychology class, Brian McMahon High School. And actually it was world history. I'm sorry, but Brian McMahon High School. And I got like the call to the teacher, and they're like, "Yeah, can you send Benjamin down to the office? Like, tell him to bring his stuff with him." And I was like, "All right, that's weird. Like, I don't usually go home early." Mm-hmm. And go down there, and my dad was down there. I was like, "All right, this is definitely weird." My dad never picks me up from school, like ever mm-hmm. my entire like school career. So we get in the car. My dad was like, "Yeah, your mom's not feeling too well. Like the doctors want you to come over." And the hospital is like it's like a 4-minute drive from the school. So like the way the kind of dude my dad is, like if he like the way he like flaked on everything in my life, the way like he just was always in and out. The fact that he was there picking me up, I was like, this must be serious. Like, yeah. I remember I put my head down and I started crying, and he was like, "Oh, no, she'll be fine." And then we go up. My sister was off at school. She was going to Southern University.
How much older is she than you?
3 years older.
3 years, okay.
So she was in her freshman year of college. Mm-hmm. I might have been a sophomore in high school actually, but she was so she was doing like finals or whatever. She was taking some tests for her class, and she couldn't get out of this test, so she was like taking this test at this time and trying to like my grandma had contacted her and told her to come down and drive down to the hospital and everything. And so we're in like, meanwhile, me and my dad, we get to the hospital, we go up to the room, and as we walk into the room, like my grandma's sitting on the bed, like holding my mom's hand, like patting it, and she's like, "You fought like a brave lioness. I'm so proud of you." And I was like, And she's saying fought. That's past tense. I was like, that's interesting. And I see the nurse is like literally unplugging the machine. I was like, huh. And I'm looking at my mom, and like she's like a skeleton, like her eyes open, looking off into the distance, and I was like,
But you still didn't know?
In my head, I'm like, she's still gonna, I don't know, like it's like in a movie, like the Superman has kryptonite next to him, but he's somehow still gonna figure it out. Like, in my head, I was like, all right, now, like I was like waiting for it, like, like now, come back to life now. And the nurse was like, yeah, like as you walked in, she pretty much passed away. And I was just standing there. My grandma tried to hug me. I like pushed her off. Ran out of the room, or I strolled out quickly. And like just sat down, punched the wall, and just like, just that moment of trying to like contemplate what was going on. And I was like, damn, like it immediately felt like it felt like I was standing on like solid ground. And then you saw Get Out, I'm guessing. You know, like the sunken place when he's like, the first time he goes to, he's like falling in that like oblivion kind of like, and he's trying to, it felt like that. Like I was reaching, like I couldn't breathe. And I thought about my sister, because I was like, oh, she's driving down to come see my mom, whatever. And I texted her, I was like, where are you? Like, can you get here now? And I was waiting at the elevator, and my sister came up, and she's like, where is she? And I was like, she's gone. Like she's gone or whatever. And my sister ran past. She was there with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend drove her, and like her boyfriend, like they both stepped off, and my sister just ran past me to go to the room. And her and her boyfriend, me and her boyfriend were just standing there at the elevator. And he was like, she's gone? I was like, and I was like, yeah, like she's gone. And as we're sitting there, I could hear my sister like a blood curdling, like screaming, like just like, yeah, like gut wrench, like screaming. And me in my head, I was like, damn, she's really gonna like bother the other patients on this floor. Like they're like other people are trying to sleep or whatever. Because it was just, and like that moment was like rough. Because and I just sat there. I called up my aunties, like on my Jamaican side, and I was like, yeah, my mom just passed away. I texted my cousin. I was like, my mom just passed away. I was trying to be like responsible about it. I called my school guidance counselor. I was like, hey, I'm not going to be in class for the next couple of days. My mother just passed away. Please don't I don't want anybody to really know about this. Like, and then the next day I was like, I'll go. I want to tell my teachers myself, well, I'm not going to be in class. I went back to school with my sister, and I went to each class individually, and I was like, hey, I'm not going to be here for the next couple of days. Then I broke it down to all of them, and then that was it took a while. Even now, it's like it's never been like the same. I don't know, it's never been the same. And
were any of the teachers particularly receptive or kind, or was there someone in your school that you were able to talk to after you told them? There's this one teacher at McMahon named Annunziato Nuns. Everybody knows him if you go to McMahon. And I kind of like knew him throughout like my childhood a little bit, because he's one of those teachers in the community that like everyone knows him. And he was like a basketball coach for a little bit, so he used to like these summer camps. So like he knew my mom like personally kind of. And he was he everyone offered kind of. A lot of people offered for me to come talk to them. But I have a lot of like trust issues, I guess. So, and I'm also an introvert by nature, and I kind of just like shut off the world at that point. Like I didn't really believe people. Like when people say I'm there for you, whatever, I was like, yeah, my grandpa wasn't there for me, my dad wasn't there. Like it like my best friends in my life are my cousins still. Like my family is my best friends, because it's hard for me to like, So at that, that really people were there for me to their credit. I just didn't want to utilize them at all. I think at that age too, there's so much you're still learning about the world and yourself. And I don't know what you can speak to about this, but I know for me at the time, I didn't understand the magnitude of how young it really was. So you kind of think you have to move forward. And did you find like there was one adult that was a safe space to talk to? Or I didn't really, but I'm just curious if you had one.
Nah, not really. At all. I didn't want to talk to anybody.
Right.
And part of it was because I didn't want to really bother anybody. I was like, oh, this is my problem. I'm sure you got your own problems. I'm not trying to. I gotta figure it out. Cause I don't know. My mom, she really instilled in me like from a young age, like what she thought it took to be a man, and there were certain like morals and components to being a man, and I saw the way she handled business, and I was like, all right, I gotta get through this on my own, kind of. And I don't know. In hindsight, I guess I would have did it the same. I don't know. The thought of me reaching out or talking to someone about it, because it just, and then the thought of me going to like therapy and getting that, I didn't like talking to a stranger, the idea of doing that, and I just felt so like vulnerable that I felt like letting anybody in. I don't know. It just, I keep saying I don't know, but it just freaked me out, kind of.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I hope that there can be some kind of school program. There are now some school programs where people come in, grief counselors specifically talking to kids of that age, but still not every school has it. It's complicated. And
they actually, so my school had something like that.
Really?
They had a grief counseling like session, but it was like a group thing. So I had like a bunch of kids who lost somebody in their lives.
Whoa.
But the way it was being utilized in my head, excuse me, especially because me personally, it was like a 40-minute block, so it's not really time, and it's like 8 other kids in there, so it wasn't like you can get time to even go over your own personal issues. So it was more things like, let's all draw a picture that reminds us of the person we lost. And I was like, this is dumb. That's not bringing my mom back. That's not putting food on my table. It was, so I used it more just like a way to get out of class. And then other kids who were in there, I don't know. I started getting like real cynical, kind of with what I was thinking, more jaded. And kids who were in there, they're like, yeah, my grandpa died when I was 2, and it really affects me. And I was like, oh, get the fuck out of here. I'm not trying to hear this. Like, your grandpa died when you were 2. Boo, fucking who?
See that? I don't want to say that's wrong. I mean, sorry. I think that's wrong. I think that actually can. From I do a little bit of grief work. I volunteer at this really cool camp. I'm going to send you information if you're ever. It's totally changed my life. But what they talk about in there is it's really important to be with people of similar circumstances. And even though it's apples and oranges, no one's going to have the same story. But that, I think that actually brings up a reaction to me right now. Like that actually I think is what you're saying. It makes it worse because that's so different.
Yeah.
A grandpa in general, I actually need to work on this, but I do actually have some reactions still when people lose a grandparent and are super upset because it's still horrible and it doesn't take away from their experience. But I'm like, yo, your grandma was 97,
lived a full life. Like
right.
You should have expected.
So I'm sorry you had that experience.
It's fine. There was one other girl in that group who also had lost her mother, and she was way more tough than I was. So she kind of like put it out there. One day we were having like a group discussion, and she was like, I don't want to hear y'all say nothing. Only me and this kid right here could talk, because only me and him know like what we really lost. Like, oh, y'all lost y'all fucking dogs. Y'all lost y'all grandparents. Fuck
dogs?
that.
Dogs? Like, no, yeah, they should have not had them in there.
It was people who. It was offered to people who are grieving, and some people had lost their dogs the month before, and whatever. Or
no, sorry, dogs, but no.
I listen. I love my dogs too, but then it's a weird atmosphere because it's like I'm comparing the memory of my mom to the memory of your Shih Tzu. That's not the. It's not the same fucking.
It's not funny, but
nah, but it is kind of funny, I guess, because it's and that kind of everything happens for a reason, and I don't know. It kind of all that just kind of taught me. Maybe for the worse, but it taught me how to just deal with shit on my own. Because not even me and my sister don't even really talk about it that much. I don't, like 10 years again is coming up, and I know she kind of has a tougher time with it than I do because I think she's more in tune with her. I kind of just bury everything, and then it comes out at weird moments. Like the other, so the show Miss Maisel, the marvelous Miss Maisel.
Yeah.
I can't watch that show.
Wait, really? How come?
Because it just makes me cry. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest. I get like halfway through the first episode and I'm just bawling. And it's a comedy show, but because it's so Jewish of a show, so it reminds me of like my family, like my grandma and my grandpa, and I just think like, damn, like I get sentimental about the weirdest things now because I'm just like, this could have been my mother in a different light. This could have been like look how happy they are. But I get freaked out when I watch stuff like that.
Wow.
Anything that's like close, I don't know, like. It's weird. I'll leave it at that.
This is not weird. I know what you mean. It's not weird, but it's strange when grief comes up in different ways. When I see someone in a wheelchair, because my dad was in a wheelchair for many years at the end of his life. So when I see someone in a wheelchair, I get really upset. Even though some people are in a wheelchair for just a completely different reason. Or I have one friend in a wheelchair and she was like, I've been in one my whole life. I'm good. Like, I'm not sad about this, but I'm sad. And it has nothing to do.
Or if they broke their ankle, they're only in it for like a month.
Right. So interesting. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Well, I don't know the right word for this, but I find it really interesting and cool that you identify so much with the Jewish community. And I love your jokes about being Black and Jewish. I think they're brilliant.
I mean, I'm Jewish. I was bar mitzvahed. I went to Israel. Like I identify. I don't go to synagogue that much anymore, just because after my mom died, I kind of got less religious. And I don't know if that happened to you. And
it's confusing, that's for sure.
Yeah, I just got mad. I just got angry with God. Even now, I don't pray now, because it, for what? Like I prayed when my mom was dying. I was like, please save my mom, please, and he didn't. And so it's either he chose not to, or I wasn't worthy of him doing it. So I start to convolute the idea, and I do still identify as Jewish, and I'm very proud of being Jewish. I'm also very proud of being Jamaican. I love both of my roots. I wish my family in general was more collective on both sides, but yeah, I as a kid it was weird just because I was only Black kid in the synagogue, or I was only Jewish like kid at all my friends, cause I hung out with Black kids when I was growing up in my neighborhood, whatever. So it was a weird dynamic in that sense, but I wouldn't change. I just love it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you've been through a lot. Just that's what comes up for me.
As have you. I mean, we all have, right?
We all have. But do you ever feel like sometimes I find it difficult in terms of the compare and despair? In general in comedy, that's its own compare and despair. But sometimes to people, I'm like, I know you've been through stuff, but you haven't been through.
Yeah.
And that's tricky because you don't want to project that onto someone.
Yeah, you can't compare that, like, traumas or whatever. But
does that ever come up for you?
I have a couple stories of that. So after my mom died, like I said, my grades in school just plummeted because I stopped caring. And my mom actually made my rabbi my legal guardian after she passed.
Really?
Yeah, my dad wasn't my legal guardian because she knew, he's not there. So
yeah,
my rabbi became my legal guardian and all that stuff. And he saw that my grades were shit. He was like, all right, we're going to get you into a Jewish school. There was a Jewish day school starting up in Connecticut. And they had like 30 kids in the school in total. And they needed more kids. And I was Black, so they definitely wanted me in there because it just looks like diversity.
Wait, 30 kids total for every,
No, in the school.
How many people were in your grade?
5.
What?
The second one came, the fifth one came in the second year I was there. My first year there was 4 kids in my grade. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, was that interesting? Did you get a lot of attention? Like, what was that like?
So I transferred high schools in my senior year because my grades were really bad. The idea of going to college wasn't in my mind at all. I had zero motivation for it. I didn't see myself going to college. Honestly at that point I saw myself being dead by 21 or in jail. I was like, those
really?
I'm not a gangster by any means, but I'm not from the best of places, and I wasn't hanging out with the smartest of people, and I was putting myself in bad situations. So I had no desire for that. And my rabbi was like, "We're gonna get you into the school. Like, it's free tuition for you because they want you in there that bad. And if you go, I'll give you a MacBook Pro." I was like, "All right." MacBook Pro. I was like, all right, that sounds cool. I'll be able to play with it for a little bit, and then
smart rabbi.
Yeah, I honestly was. I was like, I'll make some beats on GarageBand or whatever, and then when I'm dead, I'll give it to my cousin. Like I'll pass it off to someone else.
Is that really what you?
I was like, yeah, because I have a cousin who's we're 5 months apart. So I was like, when I pass, like when I'm dead, I could just hand it off to him because it's a free MacBook Pro for him, and so. Well, yeah, that obviously wasn't in the right place mentally. But
what made you think that you might die soon, or at some point?
Honestly, it was just things that I was surrounding myself with. I was in situations where there were, people getting shot. There's situations where it was just, I was just surrounding myself in dumb stuff. Some of it was unavoidable, but some of it was definitely avoidable. And I was just putting myself in foolish situations, and I didn't really care. And I was also, I don't know, like, I guess chasing some type of, I don't know if it was an approval or what. I was just chasing something at one point. I was just living life on the edge. But yeah, so I went to this school, and I'm the only black kid there. And there was one other black kid, but he was adopted, so it wasn't like really the same upbringing. Because I was like an actual, I came from like an inner city kind of place, and everyone else there was like kind of upper class, middle upper class, and it was very weird. One, because I was like 18, because I transferred to my senior year, and two, because all these kids were from a different socioeconomic like walk of life, and it showed in their problems. And this was part of the reason why when I went to this school also, I was skipping school like every other day because I was 18. I didn't need
this new school.
Yeah, I didn't need like a parent to like sign off or anything because I was 18. So I would just call in like, yeah, I'm not coming in today. I'm feeling sick. Hang up the phone.
Who did you live with, by the way, during this time? Did you live with the rabbi when your mom died?
Nah. So my mom's like the house that I grew up in. My mom like paid it off a little bit, so we were there. I was there. It was me and my dad in the house, and my sister was off at school. But that situation was just crazy because he was in and out of my life for 13 years, and then now he's trying to be like the number one parent.
Did he step up to the plate at all?
Oh, nah, not really. He did it verbally, like go do this, but it was never anything like action to show me how to do it. So, and on top of that, I didn't respect him anyway as a father, as a black man to have survived as an immigrant in this country for as long as he have. I respect him in that sense, but as a father, there's not really much he could say to me. So. And at that point, I felt like I was a grown man anyway, especially because my mom had just passed. I was like, what are you going to tell me to do? Like, you can't tell me to do anything. I'll go fuck yourself kind of thing. And yeah, and this was, that's part of the reason why I ended up going to Florida at one point, because I'll get into that if we have time, I guess. But
we're gonna have to do part 2. There's so many chapters. I love it.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No,
I ramble.
Don't. No. This is so powerful and interesting.
But anyway, at this school, there was one day, this girl was crying and she was upset. So I was like, what's the problem? Like, what's going on? And she was like, my mom and I were going through an issue. I was like, what's the issue then? And she was like, I really wanted this like Mercedes for my birthday, but she's getting me this. Like,
no.
Yeah, and I started like, I was like, yeah, word. I've had power in my house for the last like week and a half because like my dad wasn't making like my mom was the breadwinner. My mom, she was making all the money for us. We weren't like. She was a probation officer, we weren't rich, but she was paying all the bills and everything. My dad wasn't able to do that. So, like wintertime, we had no heat, so I could like see my breath in the house, and like I had to wear like 2 coats inside because it's it's Connecticut, so it's all old homes and everything like that, so it's freezing.
Oh my god!
And she's over here talking about a car that she didn't get. So I started like snapping on her, and I was like, I should beat this. Like I was just so mad, like And I realized, like, she didn't deserve that. Like, it's not her fault that that's the situation she's in. Like, it's not her fault that, my mom died. So, and then another, to your thing of, like, the comparison. I went, like, this college I went to. Emerson, which is a good school.
It is a great school.
Good, yeah, it's a great school. I'm very happy they took me in. They've done a lot for me. But, some kids there are sheltered, to say the least, and it's a bubble for sure. Which to be fair, I didn't really know a whole lot about it before I went there, and it wouldn't have deterred me anyway. But it was there were a lot of instances in classes where people were saying things, and I was like, the real world doesn't work like this. Like it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like hearing someone talk about a fight who's never been in a fight, and they're like, if I got into a fight, I would do this, I would flip them over, and it's like you're gonna get punched in the mouth. You gotta know how to take that punch, and it's kind of I just keep my mouth shut most of the time because there's no need for that confrontation, and everyone's gonna learn eventually, like that ignorance. So
I'm sure, that I went to USC, and there's
way better school.
No, absolutely not. Emerson's an amazing school, okay. But I we also have totally different upbringings, obviously. But I, remember when my dad died, and I was in a sorority, which I have a lot of positive things to say about it, but also that's a whole other podcast episode about what I feel about that, because there's definitely some major issues in that
I
system.
can only imagine.
But I remember when someone, it was like 2 days after my dad died, I didn't go home. I stayed there for a few weeks because I was in a play. And I don't know, at the time, the thought of not doing the play was worse than doing the play because, anyways, mixed thoughts on it all. But I was still in school. I was so upset. It was like 2 days after he died, and some girl was crying hysterically. This reminds me of the story with the girl. And I was like, are you okay? What's going on? And she's like, no, honestly, I feel like I want to kill myself. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. What happened? And she was like, this guy didn't bring me flowers, and I really expected him to after last week. And I was like, okay, you know that my dad just died. So even if you can't understand emotionally, why would you use the language that you want to kill yourself? I mean, because people they just don't know.
They don't. Yeah, that ignorance is bliss. It's truly, and you don't wish that on them to know. Like I don't wish anybody to like have their parent die or somebody close to them like that die. But I guess it's like kind of like when they say like when you have kids. I don't have kids, but they say when you have kids, you find out what real love is like, and everyone who has kids agrees like, oh, it's different. I swear to God, whatever. But like I think it's kind of like life. There's like I don't know. There's a certain component of life. There's a certain like reality of life that you only lock into once you lose all of that.
What advice would you have for someone in a similar situation to what you went through? Let's say there's a kid in high school right now, his mom just died. What would you say to that person?
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to acknowledge the pain that you're in. It hurts. It's okay to cry. I cried a lot. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to question everything. But it's cliche, but it gets better. I don't know. You find a way to just keep pushing through every day. The hardest day was that first night when my mom died, and that night I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna go to sleep tonight. Like, but the next morning I woke up. So you figure it out, and you'll be okay. If you're going through the situation right now, it seems like the end of the world, but I promise it's not. And if your mother was as great as my mother was, then she prepared you and she set you up properly for this world, and you're gonna be good. And if you want to reach out to me, and I'll give you any advice I can. I swear.
Oh, I love that.
I really will respond to all that stuff. I swear.
You're the best. You're the best. Because you have perspective now, and I mean, I really think, it's the best way to move forward is to talk to someone with some kind of similar experience. And at that age, I don't think I was really seeking that out, but occasionally, if someone came into my life that had lost someone, I look back and I think, wow, that was a really powerful conversation. At the time, I didn't really get it, but now I'm like, wow, that was helpful. Even if it was just one chat.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Because there's not a lot of people that have lost someone in high school or college. It exists, but it's not the norm.
Yeah, and I guess you don't realize that until
later.
Because when you're in it, you just feel like everyone to some degree. I didn't know anyone else's parent who had cancer or anything like that, but I just figured they're all going through something similar to this in some kind of capacity. But I guess it really is, which is good. That's not the norm. That'd be terrible.
Right.
High school is already stressful enough.
So let's talk a little bit about what's going on with you now. You're doing comedy. You're hilarious.
Oh, you're too
doing
kind.
Stand-up. How have you used these experiences to transition into your comedy? Did you always know you wanted to do comedy? Let's talk, because you're killing it. You're doing really cool comedy things. So I'd love to hear about that.
Comedy, always loved it. Stand-up, I've always been a huge fan of stand-up. My mom used to work late nights, everything. So I used to use the TV. I was a really dumb kid. I got to put that out there.
That is not true. No.
I was a very dumb kid.
You're very well-spoken. You really are.
It's all a facade, but I appreciate that. But my mom used to work late nights, and so me and my sister were home by ourselves all the time. So in my mind, if like the new, like if an adult program was on TV, like people who would break into the house wouldn't break in the house because they would think an adult was home. It was really rudimentary logic. So I used to watch
Really?
like, yeah, I used to think like if I put like adult programming on, a burglar will think, oh, there are adults in the house, we can't break into this house. So
Were you worried that someone would?
Oh
break
yeah,
in?
because it was just me and my sister in the house, and I'm like 4, she's 7, and you know I used to freak out about that kind of stuff.
That's scary. You
But
need a babysitter.
We used to have them, you know. It wasn't like every day was like that, but there were enough days were like that I was afraid of the dark. But anyway, I used to watch a lot of the news, and a lot of stand up comedy because those were both like adults only on the TV. So I used to feel safe with that, and also like a lot of Nick at Night, like Roseanne, those kind of shows. And I just loved stand up my entire life. I didn't know I could do it, if that makes sense. I thought you ever read the book The Giver? I don't know. That's a really obscure reference.
I think I've read chapters. I don't think I've read the whole thing. People sent me quotes.
That was a weird reference. But it's kind of like, I used to think like people's jobs were predetermined and people knew like their destinies were kind of predetermined kind of. So I thought like people who did like stand up, I thought that was like their special like gift. Like that, they got lucky. That was like the thing that they were destined to do or whatever. So I never thought I could do it myself kind of. And then came out to LA, part of the program through Emerson. And
because they do a semester in LA.
They do,
a cool
and
program.
I set it up so that I'd be graduating during that semester because I want to be a writer and film and all that stuff. So I knew this was the place to do that. And when I came out here, I a month after being out here, February 18th, I went to the Fourth Wall with Joe, Explode, that Joe, and did my first set. It was terrible. Supposed to do 5, I only did 2.5. But I love it. It's the
when
most.
When was this, by the way?
This was February 18th. This
year?
Yeah.
Oh my God! So I met you right when you came.
Pretty much, yeah. You met me like, yeah. And then a month after that, I did Kill Tony, which that gave me a lot of confidence because I did decently well in it, and a lot of people were really supportive afterwards. And like Brian Redband like gave me a lot of dope advice, and Tony, like everyone was like really cool. So I was like, all right, maybe I can do this kind of thing, and It's just been I don't know. I have a long ways to go. It's a grind, but there's something magical about it. I don't know. Stand up is just, it's a weird kind. It's like self therapy kind of. I get to talk about.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, I talk about being Black and Jewish, and I have jokes. I'm trying to dig more into my mom's like story and pull out more jokes out of that. I think it's a good way to mend the pain because you have to find. The light and the darkness, that kind of thing. And yeah.
So you moved here. That's so cool. I met you right when you came. So we met on set of a USC MFA project that I was in, and you were working crew.
Yes.
And you were so friendly, and like I was like, oh my God, you're so nice. And I feel like I'm so glad we met on that set. And you just started doing stand-up, but now to see even just a few months later, it's just the ball is just rolling and rolling.
Yeah, I've got to do shows, which is amazing to me. I've gotten booked at some places, and that's fun. And
yes, you have.
Yeah, my goal, honestly, in life, like my career goal, I want to just write and do stand up. So if I could find out a way to utilize both of those, that's honestly all I want to do. I don't have any desires to have billions of dollars. I just want to pay my bills comfortably, writing and doing stand up. And I don't know if this was, I don't want to ramble too long, but I kind of noticed recently that like, I don't know, it was like not a benefit, but it was a positive that came out of my mom's like passing, I guess. Because I don't know, not saying she would have not let me do it, but I don't know. Her not being there, like I learned to make decisions for myself, and I learned, I get to decide what I want to do, kind of. Mm-hmm. So I studied, TV writing and film production, and I now I'm doing stand up, and because I have the freedom to choose. I don't know. Maybe that's a weird thing to say, but
yeah, that's actually a question I had for you. Was you answered it, but what's one positive thing, if possible, that has come from this experience? And is there one thing that's comedic or funny or lighthearted in some way about what you went through?
Comedic and light. I think it's, I mean, I don't know if this is comedic. I always thought it was ironic that my grandpa, being a Jew, was so, just bigoted, ignorant, just like, I can't accept these Black people. And,
I hate your grandpa. I can't even imagine. I'm so sorry you had that experience. That is just,
I mean, people have had much worse. Like usually when they ask me, I usually say I've had a pretty perfect life. Like, you know, I have my health for the most part.
Is that what you say?
I mean, my life is pretty, I'm not rich by any means. I you know.
What do you do for work right now?
I'm a writer's assistant right now. So.
You are?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Where are you doing that? That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's so competitive.
I'm not allowed to say. I just signed an NDA.
Got it.
Yeah.
We will not be disclosing that information, but
Yeah.
good for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's cool. I'm hoping I don't screw it up because I think it's a good opportunity. And then, yeah, I just do that and I just freelance doing on set production stuff. And then I don't get paid for stand-up. Probably never will. But
yeah. Hey, one thing I have, when we first met, you were so hard on yourself, and you are so good, and you're doing all the right things. You are absolutely going to get paid to do stand-up.
if I get paid $50 for stand-up, that'd be enough.
You're going to.
Well, yes.
Any second. Yes.
That's the goal. $50.
That's all we want.
That's all I want.
Just $50.
$50. But what about you? What positives or? Because I'm curious. I need another perspective on it.
I mean, a positive for me. I mean, similar to what you said. There's so much. I don't know who I would have been if my dad was around or if he hadn't been sick. I think, I learned so much and it made me take life more seriously, but also like be able to laugh things off that aren't the big issues. Like when something really quote unquote bad happens, it's a little bit easier to be like, wait, was that bad?
Yeah.
And I'm healthy, and just seeing my dad, because he lost in ALS, your muscles atrophy, so he was paralyzed for the last decade of his life, at least, maybe longer. So just seeing what it's like to have a completely able-bodied human being no longer move. So he didn't move at all. Like for the past 11, 12 years of his life, he couldn't even look to the left. He couldn't move a pinky. He just laid there. And he used to like walk, run, be active, played college basketball. And just to see that has brought a lot of perspective. And similar, I mean, who knows what kind of career I would have had. Definitely something related to all of this comedy, but yeah, who knows what he would have thought about that and what that influence would have brought. So I don't know.
I honestly cannot imagine like what that.
I mean, I still can't imagine, even though I saw it. I don't think you can imagine until that's you. So it's interesting, but I'm happy for us that we're following our dreams and we're in LA. We're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely doing it.
You're definitely doing it.
I see your face like everywhere, it seems like.
Definitely not. But hey, working on it all. And I mean, I guess a positive is I never thought I would be doing, let's say, a podcast talking to all these people who've lost someone. Because, yeah, when my mom's cancer came back a few years ago, it was like, okay, second parent with a terminal diagnosis. This is somehow supposed to be, I don't know, in my path of what I'm talking about and doing. And even though it's upsetting, it's nice to connect with people and hopefully people, in random cities that don't necessarily know anyone can be like, okay, well, I'm not the only person, because I definitely felt like I was the only person.
Which is why I think this is like a really amazing like podcast that you're doing, because
thank you.
Especially with how popular podcasts are nowadays, I definitely would listen to something like this to help me, like, because this is something that's personal. Like, no one else has to know about it. Like, you do it too, because
that's what I think. Yeah,
I'm an introvert, so I would have definitely did this to myself and just listen. Like, all right, yeah, I feel that same way, or that. So I think this is like genius and super positive.
Thanks. Well, who knows? Yeah, thank you. We'll see. And like I said, it's not for everyone. I don't think everyone wants to be in a place of thinking about it all the time. But hey, maybe someone just wants to listen to a few, and that can be helpful. Or like that first year is really challenging. So maybe someone like that year wants to be in this space and then never wants to think about it again. But
you need a distraction for sure.
Yeah.
I had basketball. That was like, I used to go outside and I'd shoot for like 3-4 hours and
really
hear the net just swish, and that would like bring me comfort. And I'd cry while I do it too, but it would, just focus on because I love basketball so much. But did you have like a distraction or anything like that?
Theater, yeah, plays.
That's good because you get to actually like take the emotion and redirect it into something else. That's
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, being the the comedic relief, it was just so fun. And even though I was usually playing like grandmas at the time, but it was fun. And back in the day when there was there was nothing attached, it was just like, this is joyous. One thing I normally ask at the beginning, but we end up chatting about other stuff, but I often open these interviews by saying, do you have a goldfish moment? And a goldfish moment is, do you remember the first time you conceptualized or thought about death in some way?
Goldfish moment. Did your goldfish die? Goldfish moment. Did it make you cry?
Was your mom's diagnosis the first time?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Like the elevator story, whatever. Like at the end of that day, my sister and I were just talking, and she was a little older, still not educated, but older. So I just thought she knew what she was talking about, and she was like, "Yeah, like Ima's gonna die." Ima, Ima means mom in Hebrew. We call her mom.
Is that what you called her?
Yeah, she wanted us to call her like she called me Yamin growing up because Benjamin in Hebrew was Benjamin, and she thought there were too many Bens, so she was I'm gonna call you Yamin, so you're unique, and she wanted us to call her Ima, so if we end up like a big crowd, she would know where we are, kind of thing. Yeah, so my sister was like, "Yo, Ima's gonna die, and she's not gonna be here anymore," and yeah, that was like the first time I was like, "All right, so then what happens?" and where does she go? And like, and my mom and I talked about it, a couple times, and yeah, but yeah, 3 years old, that'd be the first time.
That's young.
It is older than others, I guess, in some ways. I again
3 older than others. I think you're the young. I think maybe not on that one.
I don't know. It could have been, but the way I found it wasn't like she died, and that's how I found out about her. It was a conversation, so it was still better than it could have been, right? It could have been a lot worse, like so. But yeah, that was, and then I went. Yeah, I remember telling all my friends. I was like that kid who told all the other kids, like, yeah, your parents are gonna die one day, like they're not gonna be there anymore. And now I got like in trouble for that.
Oh, you went around and said that?
Yeah, I was like telling other kids, like every grade, I was like, that was like one of the first things I would like tell other kids, like, your parents are gonna die one day.
Nice to meet you. I'm Ben. Your mom will die.
Yeah, like she's definitely gonna die, and my mom's gonna die, and it was weird, but yeah, 3 years old, first time.
Oh my God. Oh, you were that young when you were saying that?
Oh, the conceptualized. When I was saying that stuff, that was like first grade, second grade.
That's so sad, but that's cute, but that's really sad.
Yeah, my elementary school like wanted me to like talk to somebody because they're like, you shouldn't like, at least don't break the ice with that. It's kinda...
Okay, you have to put that in your stand-up. It's not funny, but like, there's something. I mean, that's so sad but cute.
All right, I'll try. I'm still new. I'm still learning how to like write all my stuff out. But yeah, I don't know what's funny yet. I still don't even know what's funny yet. I don't know if I'm funny yet. But
everything and nothing is funny, don't you think? Everything is hilarious and nothing is hilarious. Depends on how you phrase it.
Depends on who's watching it. Yeah, it really it's life is funny.
Life, LOL. Life is funny and not funny, and that's what's funny about it. I don't know.
What was your age? I'm curious.
When I first conceptualized death.
What was your goldfish moment?
A cousin in my family had died. She was in 4th grade. I think I was like 4. She had died in an accident, and that was the first time I thought about death. But that is another story. And then also, just my parents were diagnosed similar times with ALS and breast cancer, so. Just, really young, thinking about, they sat me down and they said, hey, we both have diseases. Do you know what a disease is? And I said, no. And my sister was younger. And so pretty, similar to you, very early. What kind of cancer did your mom have?
Breast cancer. And
she
then
did have breast cancer.
Yeah, and then when it came back the second time, it just attacked everything. It went to her bones, like it just attacked everything. And then
So she had it for, did you say 7 or 8 years the first time?
From 3 until 11, 8
years.
8 years, and it came back at 13, and then, yeah.
Did it come back? Do you know what stage it came back?
4, I'm pretty
4,
sure. Yeah.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
See, that is it's so sad. And so many people don't know that breast cancer, I mean, look, right now, if you get detected early, great odds, okay? Like, It's very complicated. I haven't had breast cancer, so I can't say how. I mean, it would be horrible. It'd be the worst news you could get. And if it's stage 1, you have a very high chance of being fine. A lot of emotional difficulties, certainly, but however, even that first diagnosis, it's so important to have early detection, because if you can get it out, it's less likely to come back. And I'm so sorry to hear about your mom having it twice. And
I'm sorry. I hope your mom is I'm sure she's a fighter if she made it this far.
Well, I think it's sad. It's like I'm walking into a lion's den when I talk to some people about it, because a lot of people are like, yeah, my mom died of breast cancer. And I'm like, oh, my mom has, she has that. So
in the beginning of this podcast, I had like brushed over it, and as I was saying it, I was like, oh damn, I don't want to. But again, everything is it's all different, and but to your point, every October I do post on all my socials. I'm like, it's October, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Go get screened. Go get your like people screened. Like the earlier you catch it, the better. And men get screened too. Like it's and like my mom, it was just her time to go. Your mom is a fighter. She's still here, and
thank you.
The treatments and medications have only gotten better. Have only
Yeah. What was your mom's name?
Robin. That's honestly like the first time I've ever said it, and like I'm getting choked up now because the weird thing is so I won't ramble this too long, but I went back to Boston in May for commencement, because I graduated college finally after 30 years. And when I was there, I lost my wallet. And my wallet, I used to carry my mom's license. After she passed, I took her wallet and I took her license out because I wanted to have it with me forever. And I lost my wallet when I was in Boston. Had everything in it. So came back to LA, and I was driving around for like 3 months with no license, no anything, because everything was back in Boston. And which was dumb. My roommate, after 3 months, calls me up and goes, "Bro, I found your wallet. Like, I found your mom's license. It's all in there. I'm gonna send it to you." I was like, "Cool." Sends it to me. And it gets lost in the mail. It gets lost in the mail, and it never arrives. And I called up like the post office. I was like, I just want my mom's license. If y'all can find that, please, I'll get a new license for myself. And they're like, yeah, if it's not there by now, then we're sorry. You're never gonna get it back. Like, it's gone. And then yesterday morning, my roommate in LA goes, "Hey Ben, you got some mail?" And I walked out, opened it up, and it was my old wallet, and it was my mom's license. And
yesterday?
Yeah.
Literally yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
How long had it been missing?
In total 5 months. Total it was gone.
And you just got it in the mail yesterday, randomly?
Yeah, and in a couple of days, it's going to be 10 years since she passed.
What?
And you want to know something's weird? I probably shouldn't say this, but like the day before that, my car got repoed.
Got what?
Repossessed. Like I don't have a car right now, and I was feeling like down, like damn, like I'm really fucking up right now, and I got my mom's license back the very next day after that, and it kind of was just like, she's still watching you, like she's still, I don't know, it's very weird, but I feel very kind of like balanced everything out, but yeah, her name was Robin, and I usually don't say it, or it's tough for me to like hear it, but yeah.
Thank you.
What was your dad's name?
Lloyd. Which is I go by Chelsea Lloyd now, and that was his name. So.
I thought about changing like my comedy name to Robinson, because it's like Robin's son. Yeah.
There's something in that. Maybe you'll write a pilot and play Ben Robinson. There's something in that.
Yeah, but yeah.
Oh my god! Wait, I can't get over that your wallet was returned right before. Right before 10 and then years. Even me reaching out this week about the podcast.
Yeah, no, it was all, and I wrote it off. I wrote it after my roommate sent it out, and it didn't arrive after like 2 weeks. I was like, oh, like, then the post office was like, yeah, it's gone forever. Like, if it's not there by now, it's gone. And I was like, damn, I just wanted, like, I didn't care about the money I had, and I just wanted my mom's license back.
Was the money in there?
Yeah, then yeah, it was all in there. But
no one took the cash. Sorry. Okay, keep going. I'm cutting you off. I'm fascinated by this.
Yeah, no one. So I ended up like losing it, like in like my old like apartment somewhere. So my roommate just found it and was like, oh, like we did like some spring cleaning and it was here like in this really weird spot like, and he said yeah, sent it out. But yeah, after it didn't arrive for 2 weeks.
Where was it this whole time? Where was it?
I want to know where it was in terms of like the postal service because they told me it was
right
lost cause, and then yeah, that thing happened, and I was just feeling really defeated, and I was like, I gotta figure it out. I gotta keep powering through, keep figuring out.
Yeah.
The good thing about my mom passing is shit like that. Like I did like car getting repossessed or like a girl telling me I'm ugly. Stuff like that doesn't really bother me that much. It's kind of like or bombing on
screw that girl, but okay. Yeah.
Bombing on stage still hurts. I can't lie. That still stings a lot. But yeah, I'm very. I'll show you a picture. I'll show you the license. It's still like messed up because it's so old and everything.
My gosh, I love this. This is so powerful. Thank you so much for showing me this.
No problem. I gotta get the plastic on it, like fix or whatever. But yeah, that was her. She has way better pictures. She was really pretty. I swear.
I love it. She's gorgeous.
Hazel green eyes, dirty blonde hair. Yeah, she was awesome. But
she is awesome.
Yeah, she is.
She raised a fantastic. That's not. Now I sound like I'm an Asian old person. I'm like not that much older than you. Well, shout out to Robin. But where can people find you on social media if they want to connect?
On Instagram, it's Relax and Laugh. And Twitter, I don't use Twitter that much, but it's CT Made Me. But yeah, if you guys are grieving or mother or parent or sick or you want to talk about comedy or anything, Lakers, just DM me or something and I'll respond. I'm not that popular, so
By the time this comes out, who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah, I'll be verified with 2 million followers.
Yes,
but I'll still respond. I swear. Yeah. So
you're awesome, Ben.
You're awesome.
You've
Chelsea.
been through. I mean, this is one of my favorite interviews.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I wanted to give you a good conversation. I hope I didn't ramble too much.
No, you were really interesting.
You're very interesting.
You know that the second we met, I was like, I feel like Ben's always like, oh my God, I'm always like, Ben, you're so interesting. Okay.
Thank you very much.
This was amazing. Thanks, Ben. That's it.
Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah. Woo.
Bloopers, 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 bloopers. Well, I'm excited for you. Do you have time to do commercials, by the way? I'm like, I want you to do commercials, but you're a writer's assistant, so you probably can't leave during the day to do that, can you?
I mean, it's pretty remote, like for the most part.
It?
She, yeah. Well, I said she. I guess.
Do you have like headshots and stuff? I might cut this out, but I just have thoughts for you. Like, do you want headshots? Are you gonna get them? I feel like you could definitely book some cool things.
Like in front of the camera?
Yeah.
I don't think I have the face to be like in front of the camera.
That is absolutely not true. It's absolutely not true. You have so much to offer. You're super funny. You're unique. Like, there's so many great things about this package. I'm seeing it on a commercial now. Okay. Just saying.
I trust you. So whatever you feel, I'll agree to.
There's some good, there's some good financial opportunities out there. Just saying.
Right, let's talk.
Let's talk.
Let's make it happen.
Yodo, you only die once.